Hi, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Ask a Death Doula. My name is Suzanne O'Brien. Today, we have a great episode. It is called How to Practice Self-Care. Really, I wanted to title it How to Practice Self-Care for Doulas because it's so important. It's actually mandatory that when you do this work as a doula giver, that you practice daily self-care. I learned that the hard way. I am only sharing with you from experiences that I've had. And again, self-care is one that is not something that we partake in normally in the world. For some reason, we just don't. But especially those of us who work in a space of serving and being empaths, we tend to put others first. And self-care is not selfish. It's mandatory because, and I'll show you in a minute, how we are four bodies of energy and how you've got to take care of this physical body in all of its energies, or else you're going to burn out, you're going to get sick, all of those type of things. So again, learned it the hard way myself as a hospice nurse, and I'm sharing with you the tools that I have used and that I do use, but also that is a daily practice and something that with our doula givers that we make sure that they are practicing that, or they're, really held accountable to that, that if you're going to do this work to be in balance, to be sustainable, you've got to make sure that you're caring for yourself. So today, again, it's how to practice self-care. And let me first start out with a little overview of your holistic body. So you are four different bodies of energy within you. You're a physical body, you're a mental body, your analytical mind, your mind. You are a emotional body, so your feelings, traumas, painful things, it all gets stored in there. And there's just a whole bunch we could talk about all this, but I'm going to do an overview for you. And you're a spiritual body of energy. And I'm not talking about a religion, and I'm not saying to you that I need you to, absolutely believe everything I'm saying. I will tell you that I fully believe everything that I'm saying, but I do want to share with you about the spiritual body, because lots of us don't know that there is one necessarily, and they're all in equal parts, even though we think the physical body is kind of like the main and the most, because we see it, right? But there's equal bodies of energy. What's fascinating about working with those at the end of life is that even when people had no attachment to a religion or to spirituality, the spiritual presence, the spiritual body of energy shows up at the end of life, no matter what. And for me, the understanding from studying this and being with so many people at the end of life, and it's a science of physics, is that as the physical body is diminishing, that part of us, towards the end of life, the spiritual body is growing, because that's where the being is going to the next transition, the next world, whatever your belief system is. So it's an energetic frequency. So whether, again, I'm not saying that you have to believe what I'm sharing, but I will tell you that working at the end of life has taught me everything about how to live. And there is a spiritual body of energy that is an inner peace, that is an inner knowing, that is a higher consciousness that each and every one of us has, except for we don't connect to it. We don't practice, we don't strengthen it, and it is a practice. But if you do know about it and you do nurture that part of you, I will tell you, your life will become much more joyful and in flow. It's not a religion I'm talking about. It's a spiritual connection to a higher frequency and energetic consciousness. So this is just something that you can do right now today. Why it's important to understand that there's four bodies of energy when you're talking about self-care is because each one of those bodies needs to be nourished individually, and they have different needs. So they have different needs, and they also will do different things for you. So when people talk about being in balance, right? Being healthy and being in balance, it's about this energy. It's about the four bodies of energy, whether they are really clear on that or not. It's about that awareness that all of them need different nutrients and different love and care. And then when we have that, we feel really grounded and in balance. So I want to share with you that when I said earlier that I learned this the hard way when I was a hospice nurse, and again, medical professionals are absolutely amazing what they're doing out there, but it's really a challenging, difficult world that we're living in within that space, because they have so many patients and they have so much documentation. And it's just, self-care was never talked about, never a part of it ever. And I watched so many of my peers get sick and burnt out and all of that. So we want to honor all of the medical professionals out there. But when I was a hospice nurse and I had so many patients and I was running around, and I would literally say this to myself, just like this. I'd say, well, they're dying, you get to you later. Because I would work over hours and I'd be, riding around the middle of the night with the car, and I, be worrying about people and on the phone, because we can't go back and do this again. And I understood that. But I'd literally say, I'd get warning signs, my body wasn't feeling well or whatnot. And I was like, well, they're dying, you get to you later. Okay, so we don't want that. So what I want to share with you is that because I felt so strong in my my mind, and also because the power of the mind is really, so important, obviously, and also my spiritual connection, I feel such a peace and connection to a much greater energy, which really brings me strength and just an enormous amount of purpose. I let the physical go. I pushed my physical. I ignored when my body was saying, hey, isn't working. And what you do is when you get a little nudge from the universe, from your body, whatever I call universe, these other kind of signs, little signals, little pain, little whatever's happening, when you ignore it and push it away, it'll give you a bigger sign. And you ignore that, it'll give you a bigger sign. And if you ignore that, it'll give you something that you can't ignore, right? Something that puts you out. So I just want to share with you, again, the balance that we need in self-care, and how the important thing is not when you get a sign, it's to incorporate self-care every single day. Again, life gets busy, so you're not going to be able to maybe do it all the time. But if you have a routine for the most part of it, and you know that that is important and a priority, then it really becomes second nature. So I want to share the 4 bodies of energy. The second thing is about stress. We are living in a world where stress is really dominant. All you have to do is turn on the TV. All you have to do is put on your computer and go on social media, and the energy and the anger and all of it, the fear, I get stressed thinking about it. So that's one part of stress. And then we're dealing, with global pandemic and watching our beautiful planet having so many struggles and seeing injustices. It's so intense. Your stress hormones that kick out, that's inflammation, can be caused by, again, stress that you're in an environment, mental, and also what you eat. So there's a couple things to that. But our bodies were made to have stress hormones kick out to protect in an acute, in an immediate need. So, okay, so let's give an example. Something's going on, maybe you're out and all of a sudden there's like almost some danger, like maybe even an accident, and all of a sudden your body goes into stress mode so that you have this shoot of more energy and thinking clearly, and you can hopefully avoid something from happening. The body was made where stress hormones would, become available periodically. Right now in our world, we have a low humming, maybe not even so low, or medium of stress hormones kicking out of our bodies all day long. And that's causing fatigue. If you feel fatigue and aches and pains and just other things from happening, because we are subjected to so much stress on so many levels. But there's good news. So just the awareness of that and being able to bring yourself back to homeostasis even for short periods of time, is critical. So how can you do that? You can do that really simply by doing a few things. I start my day with a quiet intention and meditation, and going into, my heart, and just trying to empty out, and sharing in gratitude, sharing in things that I'm grateful for, and setting an intention of the day. Really taking my energy back before I start my day to be grounded. Nature is another wonderful way. Walking in nature, just observing, just deep breathing, just certain things like that. Again, they don't take long, but they allow that body to go back to a place of low stress and homeostasis, which you've got to combat. You've got to find a way to mitigate all of the stress that we're under. So knowing about the stress hormones. And then number 3, again, the importance of this is not to start practicing these when the symptoms are there. So for me, sometimes, again, if my neck gets tight, or if I almost feel like my nervous system, like a low humming of it, like an inflammation of it, I go, okay, hold on now, before it gets to a danger period, I start to do things. So I try and practice this all the time. But again, sometimes life gets intense, and we've got to show up, right? But then you've got to say, okay, where am I in this? Before it gets too far, what do I need? Because you are the best doctor for you. You are the one who knows what's going on in your body and what do you need, and you're the only one that can give it to yourself. So that is number 3, is to do it before it gets too late. So, and then 4 is a daily practice. So small little things that you can incorporate in your day to keep that homeostasis and those 4 bodies of energy will allow you to have this huge buffer that hopefully you never get to a place that it's so out that you get, unfortunately, if we get sick or get to a place of that. But your life on a daily basis will be so much more joyful. I'll give you an example. So I was having aches and pain, listen, not young anymore, right? And that's okay. That's a good thing. But when traveling and, eating on the road and doing all those kind of things, it doesn't really allow for that healthy, balanced diet as much. And so I could tell there was a lot of inflammation, joint pain, and that kind of thing. So started to incorporate, again, a practice of, the first thing in the morning, having warm water with lemon and with cayenne pepper. That's one option. And I know some people might say, what? It's really not bad at all, but it's anti-inflammatory, and it really helps to get the digestive enzymes going. Or you can do something like a green smoothie, something that, again, brings your body nutrition and an alkaline base and de-inflammation. And it's making a huge difference, guys. It's making a huge difference. So these little things that you can incorporate, again, on a daily basis, that really up your game. Because if you think about it, if you start your day and you're doing something that's creating a beautiful atmosphere of low inflammation, and then you don't have aches and pains, well, gosh, you're like, okay, what do I want to do now? Maybe I want to go for a run, or maybe I want to go for a walk, or it's a ripple effect of wonderfulness. So we want to make sure that we're incorporating those little things. And again, a daily practice of maybe, again, sitting quietly, connecting to your spiritual side of whatever your belief system is, or even just that higher conscious presence for yourself, of nature, with animals, with connection to sending love to all people. It's just these small things in these bodies of energy can be huge, can make a huge difference, and they do. So I'm going to share with you right now a technique that I have come up with that is very simple, that is very easy, that I teach my doulas to do. Again, checking in with yourself to see what you need in all 4 bodies of energy is absolutely a life changer. So in the morning, there's 2 types of periods of the day that are really wonderful to be able to, again, kind of have that expansion of your mind. One is when you're waking up in the morning. Before you jump out of bed, I really ask you to slow down. I want you to take this beautiful, yummy space. It's a beautiful space from going from that nighttime place and then entering the day of, before, I know you know what I'm talking about, when we're waking up and it's kind of like, okay, it's a little dreamy still, but then we get into a complete state of, okay, we're on, you have your coffee and you think of a million things and you're in go mode. Before you get to go mode, before you jump out and think of the 10 things or maybe 20 that you have to do today, stop. And before you jump out of bed, take this time to check in with yourself. Do a few deep breaths. And then what I say to my doulas is go into the 4-body system. And this can take 5 to 10 minutes. Physical body, how am I feeling? What's happening? Do I have any aches and pains anywhere? Is my body really tired? Is my body feeling dehydrated? Whatever that may be, check in with your body. Ask your body what it needs. Oh, I need, and this happens to me recently, you need more vegetables. You need more nutrients. What you are eating, my love, is not nutritious. It is not food. It is not feeding my cells. We're not able to do our processes. We need more clean food, and then give it to yourself. Water, I'm going to say across the board, is always a yes. More water, more water, more water. So ask yourself physically, but do you need a nice hot bubble bath? Do you need sleep? Do you need a hug? Yeah, these are the things we want to check in with. So check in with your physical body, check in with your mental mind. Are you stressed? Probably the answer is yes. Do you feel like you have a million things to do? Are you worried? Are you anxious? What's happening there? Really check in. You are the caretaker of you. So when I do that, if it's stressful and if there's too much, how can I take time for me, but also then how can I organize? So what I've done is, and this works for me personally, and I think it helps a lot of people, is to pick the top 3 things that I need to do that day. If I'm really overloaded and my list is so long, what are the top 3 things? Just pick 3 and then get those done. And it really tends to get things in control, but I also take a time out for myself. If things are 2, I say, let's slow this down. Let's slow this down and get back to, again, that homeostasis. Emotionally, how is your heart? I mean, I think all of our hearts are very, very heavy watching the world, watching people, hearing about suffering. How is your heart and what do you need? And I will share with you that forgiveness is the absolute best transformational tool for the emotional body of energy, where we hold on to regret, we hold on to guilt, we hold on to anger, we hold on to shame, all of it. All roads lead to forgiveness in the physical body. And let me just share with you that when we have an experience, it gets stuck, right? So a lot of times if we haven't processed it, which a lot of times we don't at the time, because maybe we don't have the tools, we're going through it, we're in crisis mode, or we're young, or whatever it may be. And that energy gets stored, that unforgiveness, that experience gets kind of put in this locked box, but it's in there. And so when you check in with your heart, is there something, I ask you this, is there something that you can be forgiven for, or is there someone you want to give forgiveness to? Maybe just work with that and see what you can do to release some of that. And even forgiving the world, even forgiving people in leadership, powerful positions who are not doing the right thing or causing pain for others. We have to find forgiveness. We have to find a way to create a better, again, pathway so that we can be part of the change. So check in with your emotional body and then check in with your spiritual body. Do you feel connected? Are you not on your practice? Have you not been doing that? And again, strengthen that. Gratitude is a beautiful way. A few minutes of meditation, connecting with the earth, connecting with Mother Nature, beautiful way. And again, these are just things that can take 5 to 10 minutes because you're checking in with your 4 bodies of energy in the morning. And again, you can do this at night. And it will become second nature as a practice. You might have a heavy day. Check in at the end of the day. Hey, how is my heart doing? How am I doing? And then again, being able to process and release. If you get into that practice, I will tell you that you will start to be in a place of flow that will start to bring magic and miracles into your life, because when you are flowing in a higher vibration of that energy, that is again going to attract more of that to you. And it is a beautiful place, and it is open to each and every one of us. So self-care is so critical. And the other thing that I want to share is that self-care is not selfish. I used to think that as well. Can't get to me, these people are dying. Of course, yes, that is true, but I needed to incorporate and I needed to ask for help back then, but that's a whole nother podcast. You know, I was trying to do everything myself. That's okay. Self-care, when you care for yourself, when you're doing self-care, you are caring for everyone else. Why? Because the better version of you, the healthier, the happier, the more vibrant, the better you care in all of your areas of life. So very important. And these things can be very, very quick. So again, today's podcast was how to practice self-care. And I gave you the method and technique of checking in with your 4 bodies of energy in the morning and at night, and you will see an incredible transformation. If you found this podcast helpful, please share this with your friends, with other people. Again, we are here to support and make this change for a better world for each and every person, and we're doing it together. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Suzanne O'Brien. I will see you in the next podcast. Thanks, everyone.